A little over a year ago, Vikram Rajola of the Indeed Foundation and I happened to coincidentally meet at an event in Jodhpur, and we sort of hit it off philosophically, ideologically. He's somebody I'd be doing a disservice by not mentioning, although he's lurking in the shadows and not here, because I have huge respect for him as an educator and as a social entrepreneur and the work he's doing. And we got talking, and once this entire pandemic started, we felt that there was a pressing need to start an ongoing dialogue on certain issues connected with the education sector that perhaps are being consciously or unconsciously ignored by the rest of the mainstream media, and that sort of fell in place with Indeed's own mission and reaching and educating the less privileged, which is really why we started this entire process, this movement, this series of conversations and dialogues. The first panel discussion was a little while earlier, where the theme was the same as it is today, which is reaching the unconnected millions, where we are trying to understand the challenges, possible solutions of educating millions and millions of students across the length and breadth of India who don't necessarily have access for one or the other reason to some kind of online learning, which is what students in urban centers, our children are very conveniently doing these days. The first panel, we had representatives from different NGOs, etc., and we got some understanding of the challenges. The idea today was to try and assemble a panel of experts in tech, in education, to explore possible solutions and a way forward, and how there are opportunities to alleviate this situation, to educate people despite COVID using technology. And I'm so very delighted that we've got an extremely distinguished panel. Let me quickly make introductions. I'm not going to spend too much time because you're all very well known already. And in case I make a misstep, apologies in advance. So we have Mr. Raja Brijbhushan, who is himself the co-founder and CTO of Binomial Solutions. Perhaps more importantly, is also the co-founder and IT director of the Indeed Foundation. And he's had lots of experience in diverse areas, ranging from software to organic farming and education, and he's a renowned tech evangelist. Thank you, Raja, for being here, and welcome. We also have a privilege to have Mr. Ranjan Chopra, who really doesn't need much of an introduction. Suffice it to say that he's a multifaceted, very accomplished and renowned individual who's a musician, entrepreneur, angel investor, foodie, animal lover, and among his many other accomplishments, he found Team Computers and has vast experience in providing tech to education across the board. So Mr. Chopra, thank you so much for sparing time and being with us. We also have Sushma Singh. Sushma is Senior Technology Architect at Credit Suisse. Sushma, I must confess, I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I'm hoping to get some clarity on it. Sushma is somebody who's had vast global experience with a number of top organizations the world over, and has a wealth of insight in technology and is a known technology leader. Sushma, thank you so much for taking the time and being here. We also have Mohit Pandey, who's the co-founder at Linear Square Private Limited in Colombo. Mohit, if I got that correctly. Vast experience in IT services, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and fascinating experiences prior with the giants Google and Microsoft. So his perspective will also be extremely valuable and interesting. Welcome, Mohit, and thank you so much. And last but not least, we finally can see our final panelist, Mr. Shadab Nazar. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm a little particular about those things. Principal engineer at Cisco Systems in the Bay Area in Frisco. And obviously, for obvious reasons, will have a lot to contribute to this conversation, which is really about reaching millions of students who don't have access to education at this point. And it's a bit of a question mark going forward as well. So Shadab, welcome and thank you for taking the time to be with us. Shadab, can you hear us and see us now clearly?
Perfectly now.
Lovely. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do without further ado is hand over to Raja and ask him to tell us a little bit more in detail the theme and the background and the context to this particular discussion. So over to you, Raja.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And hi, everyone. I'll just share my screen. So, sorry. Yeah. So till now, that there are two set of things whatever we have today. One was like what we were already working on and whatever we were progressing, and another set of things which we are targeting to conquer two things. One is like this, definitely this COVID stuff, whatever, because of that, which we are lacking to reach a lot of people, which we were doing already. And another is like for long term, not only just for this particular period, but in long term also, by those means we can reach out even more people whatever we were doing right now. So it's not the only focus, but the major focus is the board classes, because once anybody is like drop out of the board classes, that becomes like kind of a useless in a village kind of scenario, or the places where education is anyways treated as like kind of a secondary option or something like that. So what we have already started doing, and we are progressing well on that, like having a test engine, or rather we can say like evaluation engine, where we can the students, regardless of any particular institute or particular category, can go test themselves, and those results can be presented for various reasons, like for education authorities, for school authorities, or even for the teachers, like where students are lacking, rather than putting out their name, but we can say like out of 60 students, 20 students of yours are only good at maths. So that means like there's something, or a particular topic, or a particular subtopic. So those kind of, to achieve those kind of things, we have started creating a test engine, which have fairly kind of in a very initial stage. So I'll just share you a few screenshots of that. A login screen where you can just register also. Anybody can go and put your email and register. Then he or she will see, once he logins, he will see these screens, which is like test you have appeared and all the tests. So this is just like just a test data where only we have just 2 tests created and 2 attempted tests as well as. So for all subjects and for all classes, the list will be there, and anybody can go and just appear for any test. The test will be comprised of, mainly right now it is like just objective type, because subjective type requires a manual intervention, and that we may go ahead with that in a later stage with AI, if we can do that. That also one area where we will be seeking some help from you all. But majorly what we have done is like we have taken for option as well as question, we have taken 3 parameters. One is image, if it is related to any particular question, whatever image it could be, and text in a local language and in English. So this is the pattern of that. So it can serve even English medium students or a local language like Hindi medium students, as well as few questions required, like something could not be written in a text, like it's a triangle, image of triangle or something like that. So for that, we have taken image also. On all things will be presented in this manner. He can go next, and he will be able to see how many questions he has appeared. And lastly, he will see submit and proof.
I'm terribly sorry. One very quick question. Is this something that is in development or is already in use?
Whatever I am showing up, this is already being done, but it has some further things like I told you. This is already done. And the result will be like this, where it will be self-explanatory enough, like how much you have attempted, how much answers were correct, and what is your score. And then each question wise, it will see like this was the right answer and this was what you have given. So all in a kind of a very pictorial way. This is like what it is right now. As I told, what we are looking forward for is like to having some intervention of AI to evaluate subjective type questions as well. But as of now, we have parked it because of time and efforts required for that.
Right. So is that the end of your presentation for now?
No. I have two things else. Yeah. Another is like one assessment tool for primary grade where they cannot appear by themselves for any particular test or something like that. They need some assistant from either teacher or from their parents. So we want to develop an app for which there are questionnaires already available, but they are not in an app format. And whatever we have explored in the market, there's no such app, which is either, it might be that we are not aware of, that the teacher or parent can open that app and they can interactively get answers to those questions from the pre-primary or primary kind of students and evaluate them at what level they are right now. This is something which we want to do, but it is not even being started. Third is...
Can I ask a question at this point or?
Please, sir.
Yes, please.
जैसे ये open source के बहुत सारे platform हैं, Coursera है, edX है. Now edX is, for example, on open source. You can repurpose that entire platform for training. Have you thought about that?
I try to search for some things, but unfortunately, I could not reach a particular.
Okay, so
character. It might be that I didn't hit the right.
So राजा, हम लोगों ने क्या किया है वो edX को लेके ना corporate learning के लिए, digital learning के लिए, creating digital academies, it's very easy to repurpose that whole thing. उसमें जो format है ना, video plus testing, you know, so you can look at teachers separately, you can look at a student can test himself separately, and you mentioned effectiveness of teachers. तो वो काफी इंडियन नहीं बनाया, I think American based.
If I'm not wrong, I have seen that app. Somebody has suggested me, but somehow yeah, we can discuss that, and definitely that will be like that is kind of input whatever we are.
You know, I don't know the context, but you know, I presume that we are not in the business of developing a platform. We are in the business of ensuring inclusive education. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
जितनी जल्दी हो जाए और जो best platform है, क्योंकि edX और Coursera अब ऐसे लेवल पे पहुंच गए हैं, 10 साल पुराने हो गए हैं और कि बहुत मैच्योर हो गए हैं, you know, so they're kind of I mean, I have a whole team which does this, and they can kind of help you off the ground quickly.
That would be really a great help, and we can just definitely, we are looking for that only. We want to solve the problem. It doesn't matter how, what way and how we do it.
Yeah, with minimum coding or no coding.
Yeah, we want even help in terms of coding, because we have just me and few other volunteers who are the techno who can just code.
And Raja, I presume you are based in Jaipur?
I'm based in Jaipur.
Okay, all right.
So
Go ahead. I didn't want to kind of.
Just one last thing, like one thing what we are also want to do is like one app which can reduce our volunteer engagement or one-to-one engagement with the classes or with the students, and that to achieve that what we are looking forward is like one application which will do few things, like one is like they could, the course content could be presented in screen by screen, and there could be screen reader which will be interactive. It is not just the voiceover, it will be kind of interactive, like at the end of paragraph it could ask like, did you understand, and it can ask for a button to press if yes or no, whatever that is. Do you want me to repeat or something like that? So some interaction which will make kid connected rather than just like preaching or just like a dead recording. So that kind of thing.
So,
Another
Raja, I can see that at the bottom you mentioned Khan Academy.
Yeah, those are things.
Yes, सारे courses, is Khan Academy not available in let's say languages like Hindi right now?
It is available in Hindi, but the problem is that they have used major academic terms in English only. Like they won't say कि व्रत की त्रिज्या, वो बोलेंगे circle की radius. अब उससे क्या हो जाता है कि the students which are like total rural student, उनको even हिंदी समझने में भी प्रॉब्लम आता है, उनको एक लेवल और नीचे जाना पड़ जाता है. So these apps are really good. What we want is कि उन apps को समझ पाए स्टूडेंट, उस लेवल तक भी तो हम उनको लेके जाएं. That is one challenge what we have.
So it needs to be local, I suppose.
Localize as well as कि जो apps अभी available हैं, they are really good, they are awesome, but they expect one certain level already in the student,
so,
which is lacking in the rural.
Raja, did we try to connect with Sal Khan?
With
the founder of Khan Academy, Sal Khan.
I think Vikram.
दो सलमान खान है इंडिया, मतलब इस प्लेनेट पे बड़े फेमस है. एक को तो जानते हैं सब, दूसरे जो है वो खान एकेडमी वाले हैं.
Vikram,
So,
you there?
but Ranjan, actually we did. So we spoke to Vikram, and Vikram told us about this problem. So like you said, basically we tried to see what content is available on Khan Academy, and the content that was there was in Hindi. The people were talking in Hindustani, if you will. They were talking in Hindi, and part of it was in English. So I'll update you. I don't know Raj and Raja's time right now, but I can update you as what.
There's a bit of an echo, Sadab.
Sadab, your voice is echoing. I think you're connected to two mediums, I think. So one of them you have to mute.
So in the meantime,
is it better now?
Yes, it's better. If I can just quickly interrupt, forgive me for doing this. So what we'll do is that we come to all of these points. There's just a certain structure that I'd like to follow, if you indulge me.
Sure.
So now, what I'd like to sort of get is Mr. Chopra's perspective on the efficacy of these solutions, according to him, that have been shared by Raja so far. But before that, very quickly, I also want to share with all of you, and I'm sure most of you are aware of these things. In our last panel, there were a few things. I don't know too much about technology, but what I do know is that there are certain very peculiar challenges that are being faced in reaching technology to rural India or to the less privileged Indian students, which are, even things such as, not everybody has a cell phone. One family will have one cell phone, and the child in the family who's the student will get it for an hour. There is problems in terms of, even when that child gets that phone, it won't be charged enough because electricity is only coming to that particular area for an hour a day. So there are those kinds of challenges as well, which I just wanted to put out there so that all of you are mindful of those problems while you're suggesting possible solutions. So, Mr. Chopra, if I could just come, ask you to come in.
One thing I'll just like, one thing I want to add to that is like, one more thing, like sharing content on existing stuff like WhatsApp or Telegram, or very popularly using Facebook or something like that, that cannot be done because in village areas, like those social platforms are so polluted that any
Right.
parent doesn't want to hand over to their kids with those contents.
Yes. So yeah, Mr. Chopra, if you can sort of share your perspective on.
Yeah. So you know, दो तीन चीजें हैं. एक तो infrastructure हो गया, which is the hardware part and ensuring the hardware, the devices, the network infrastructure, the Wi-Fi routers, and 4G/5G जब भी आएगा 5G, plus including things like solar chargers or you know, some kind of charging thing, keeping in mind कि बिजली नहीं आएगी पूरे दिन. Now, so I was just reflecting on that, exactly what you said, that there will be severe limitations in remote areas. तो दो तीन चीजें हैं, ये डिपेंड करता है क्लस्टर्स पे कि you know, how are the students, you know, what kind of clusters are they in, even in remote areas. एक तो धूप बहुत होती है राजस्थान में, so solar seems to be the best way, and you don't have to go for big bang solar. I'm sure Rajasthan government's also doing their bit, but that is one area which, I mean, I would like to be updated, because I don't have any idea of state of the art. कहाँ पर पहुँचे हम अभी भी solar में.
Right.
And so and go for a combo of low cost devices. It could be all these technologies today, they are all omni channel. तो अगर मैं कोर्स को टीवी पे देखूं वही कोर्स दिखेगा, अगर कोई डेस्कटॉप पे देखूं या मोबाइल पे देखूं या आईपैड या कोई किसी भी पैड में देखूं, तो कोई भी फॉर्म फैक्टर होगा, you know, I will be able to get the same experience as a student.
Correct.
And
so Mr. Chopra, if I can quickly interrupt, saying, if I interpret correctly, is that use whatever medium or channel that you need to, which is easily accessible. It can be the television, it can even be perhaps radio.
So radio, why go for radio? Because we are looking at a self-learning. Are you looking at you know, broadcast mode? I think kids would want a self-learning.
Right.
Modules सारे मिल गए उनको. So imagine Khan Academy now. अगर Khan Academy से बात हो जाती है, and I couldn't hear what Shadab was trying to say, but imagine Khan Academy से अगर बात हो जाती है, तो repurpose हो जाएगा उनका पूरा material. It's fantastic. You know, our kids will get world-class stuff, and I have.
Okay, there seems to be some lag.
His video is freezed, I think.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. We'll come back to Mr. Chopra. So in the meantime, Mohit, if I could just come to you and ask you to weigh in here, since you have a lot of experience, you know, what kind of time and resource requirement is there to sort of develop some of these tech solutions, do you think?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, and you know, just wanted to add on to Ranjan. If you kind of you know, you can cut this problem in many ways. The way I see it is that there are two kinds of problems. One is really enabling the process of teaching, right, and the other is really enabling the process of learning. Learning doesn't equal teaching, right? Sure. Sorry, Ranjan, you're back again.
Go ahead.
Why don't you finish?
I could hear what you guys, but I think at some point I dropped out. So what I was saying was that Uttarakhand mein, for example, I've been wanting to do this. I'm quite invested there. Haven't gotten around, and I'll be very keen to kind of see you guys take off in Rajasthan. And वहाँ जैसे चल जाता है तो same model can be copied in different areas. Definitely. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
I'll keep checking. Otherwise, you know,
Okay. So Mohit, you.
Yeah. So sorry. So I was saying one is the process of, so you know, there are two issues: the process of teaching and the process of learning. The process of teaching is really, I kind of divide that into 4 broad buckets, something which Ranjan was also talking about. It's consumption of the content. So how does the student consume the content, right? It's got to a lot to do with the devices, whether it's laptops or tablets. My point is that I don't think mobile is the most effective way of teaching, right? Mobile is a device for consuming short form content, whereas school curriculum is long form content, whether it's video or text. I think there are a lot of technologies available. You could use, for example, low-cost devices, as Ranjan was saying, and you could use television screens, right? Television is the easiest form of large form content. So you could use a very low-end computer or a low-end mobile phone and cast on a screen. Things like Chromecast, Fire Stick, etc. are very low-cost devices.
Right.
So that, because if the students can't see or they don't have access to mobile phones, they generally don't study. So I think that kind of problem needs to be solved.
Right.
The second is the connectivity issue. Basically Ranjan again touched on it, whether it's mobile broadband or fixed line broadband, really. But I think if it is consuming at your own pace, it has to be offline content. Or stored into some form where students can consume at their own pace. Some students get access at night, some in the afternoon, some in the daytime, right? So I think consuming at their own pace is there. So consumption, connectivity, then is the content, right? And I think content is very, very key, because we are talking about textbooks are not digitized, or at times syllabus is different between CBSE and the state board, or any other boards. Teachers, students are used to some form of learning, like Blackboard based learning. So I think content needs to adopt. And my point here is that I think while this pandemic has brought in a problem, I think it's a huge opportunity to change content to make it world class. If we partner with Coursera's of the world and, Udemy's and, all of those kind of people, you will make depth of content, which is world class, available to everyone, right? And it should be video, audio, in-person assessments, etc. Byju's, for example, is doing an awesome job of kind of combining these 3. So I think some of these partnerships will need to be developed. And last is really delivery of this content, right? And that is where I think a lot of us are struggling. So even if students have access to devices, our teachers aren't trained. They aren't comfortable delivering over a digital, device. They can't verify whether the student's understanding or not. There is no one-to-one connect kind of happening, with students. So I think my point is, again, I asked this question that in this new format where we have a opportunity to change, why should teacher even deliver? I'm saying you have standardized content which is available to you. Teachers are in the job of just translating that content to you. They are not delivering a lecture necessarily. The lectures can be standardized and it's available in different languages. That gets me to the next question on the process of learning. So this was all process of teaching. Yes. So while the activity of teaching happens, is the student understanding? Is he learning?
Right.
And that problem is...
Very quickly, Mohit, before you get into the learning part of it, what you're essentially saying is for set courses and curricula, you don't really need that much teacher intervention if you just module everything.
Yeah, my point is do not reinvent. Remote learning or remote, working from home. Remote learning is being solved by many people.
Right.
We should leverage on those platforms. Okay. We should not reinvent that style. That's probably the fastest way. So one is in terms of content, and also in terms of platforms like YouTube Live is there. Platforms like Zoom are there if you have the right devices. Now, Zoom is a communication platform. It's not a teaching platform, but you can use it to teach. Right. So I think leverage these kind of platforms. Then companies like Microsoft, companies like Google, etc., are doing some excellent outreach programs into the rural areas. So for example, being from Google, I know there is a program called Internet Sati, which was largely made for women empowerment in the deepest corners of the country. So it was really that if you can empower women, right, by teaching them internet technology, you actually empower families, because women get education plus they get opportunities to earn money. Right. So it's being supported by Tata Trust, and they do it. Now that had a awesome reach engine to kind of train women into the remotest corner. They had internet sathis, that's why the program got its name, and they went from village to village training women on basics of computer content, etc. Now the same platforms now, that platform exists, and there are, I don't have the numbers with me, but they are reaching to tens of thousands of villages now. We can use that same platform now to reach out to children, right? And kind of deliver some of these things if we kind of partner with them. And talking of partnerships, I think you should partner with companies like Apple or Microsoft or Google, because these companies are in the business of education, they are in the business of technology, and they are in the business of Indianizing, technology. So basically, they are looking at low bandwidth solutions. They are looking at offline solutions. They are looking at gadgets, devices. So my point is partner both for content, both for reach and for platforms. I mean, a short thing, we can go into depth of all of these.
Now, okay, so wonderful. Those are very, very essential, great points. Sushma, if I can come to you, it's very well and legitimate and valid to say, let's partner with the big guys. But realistically speaking, is that financially feasible for an NGO like an Indeed Foundation to do? Is that even possible? Will the big guys be open to partnering at very minimal cost and rolling out, repurposing, if I understand as a layperson correctly, repurposing these softwares and making them available to the kind of strata of society that we're targeting?
So I think even before you get to figuring out whether Apple and Microsoft, Google will try to, whether they would help you solve this problem. The thing is, India's very different. The people that you're targeting here, to say that online learning should work for them and we can cater these platforms for, say, primary students. When you talk about the Khan Academies of the world and taking it to the 10th, 12th graders, anywhere, they could even be in the villages. If they've gone through primary and middle school education, they can still consume and they know how it works. But to me, I think the biggest problem that we should look to solve is primary grade, because if they drop out during this time, it's going to be very hard to get them back on. So I know, Karthik, you mentioned in the beginning that the board addressing, the board students, that's of course it should be. And those, for the 10th, 12th, for post from 9th to 12th, we could have a separate solution, which is more app-based. And for the primary, 1st through 7th, 8th, I would say, right. Think we need to have a separate solution that, just considering the current state of the villages in India, where there's, all the problems that everyone's already discussed, right?
Correct.
So for the high school, some of the things that Mohit and Ranjan have already discussed, I think that's a fair point, because those are older. You can also get access to smartphones or shared screens that can be used.
Sorry to interrupt. वहाँ तक ये बच्चे पहुँचते ही नहीं हैं. So
right. नहीं, so 10th 12th के लिए हम ये solution तभी भी लगा सकते हैं, right? And those we could still address. Even the existing platforms can be easily repurposed for addressing 10th through 12th, right? Because if they can get on WhatsApp, right. Everyone knows, right. they can still consume it. Right. But for primary school, I don't, we have to think of solutions which don't require lot of internet connectivity, correct. Which don't require a lot of parents' supervision, correct. Because that's also the age when children need to go to school to get, social interaction and discipline and a lot of other things, right? So I think, and I was looking at Shadab, say, comes from Cisco, and they you can actually create an unconnected device, which has input some form of gaming on like a measure, so right. That it's sort of self-learning still, and we would still need to enhance it with some form of interactive education, because it can't completely be offline. I don't know about you guys, but I've got 2 older boys, and their engagement dips from when it started, like everyone was very excited for a week, 2 weeks, and then you suddenly find, the kids not paying attention even when they know the devices. There is so much content in the existing devices that to keep their attention going, just to hand over a smartphone to a young child, or it has far-reaching consequences. So if there is a device which is primarily catered to learning, it's just a learning device, may or may not be connected, or to get to a connection needs some form of supervision, or only when you get to a teacher it is uploading scores, something like that. I'm just thinking about it. To me, that is a big problem to solve.
Right.
And it has to be cheap enough that it can be available to the villages. Should it go to every household? I'm not so sure. Could it still be in some form of the whatever so you use the existing infrastructure that's out there. So you've got your existing schools, maybe they've got a set of devices, and everyone, they create these, as it happens in the urban area, they have an account, they can go in for a certain time and use it. What I'm trying to say is, for the primary to middle school, I am not so sure if complete remote learning is a solution. I also think that's the primary section that needs to be addressed, because those are our future leaders, and that's the future generation.
Right.
And of course, the existing medium can of course be used for secondary high school students, and there's plenty of options that we can use.
I'm delighted to, for an old school fadidari like me, I do my primary job is I teach communication skills, and I find since the lockdown, I'm doing my own classes on Zoom, and I don't enjoy them at all. And the luxury now of physically being present is something else, and there's this X factor. So much more gets communicated non-verbally through body language, of being in the same space as a student. So I'm happy that you share that not all learning can be done remotely, especially certain section of the student population. If I can come to you, Shadab, and sort of get your views into the conversation. Of course, comment on whatever you'd like to say, having listened to everyone till now. But also, I'd like to know from you in terms of integrating AI into some of the sort of solutions that have been proposed so far, please.
Sure. So first of all, let me answer the question. I think Ranjan was asking about SAL, right, and reaching out to Khan Academy and trying to figure out if something could be done there. So I spoke to. So first of all, what I did was I actually went to Khan Academy, and I saw that there was content in Hindi, and I was delighted about it. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. Whatever my kids study here, the same content would be available to people in India, right? And then I happened to talk to Vikram about it, and Vikram said, basically, you're talking about a clientele and a set of students who don't know what radius is, and who don't know what gravitation is, right? They have been taught in pure Hindi and not Hindustani, if you will. And that would be a big challenge for them to actually understand the content that Khan has. So Khan had a different clientele in mind when he created the Hindi content, if you will. And the same challenge actually you'll find across the board in Coursera's of the world, in edX, and every platform that we just spoke about is not meant for people that Vikram and folks are targeting.
That's precisely the problem.
Yeah. However, so that's where this new electricity of the world can come in and that brings in AI, if you will. Like, I don't know how much you guys are aware as to what's going on in the AI field, but seriously, there's some serious, amazing stuff that's going on with respect to what these machines are able to do now. You all must have heard about Manoj Tiwari, right? Manoj Tiwari had a political meeting, and he was speaking in Haryanvi, if you will. So his content actually got rendered in Haryanvi, and he was able to connect with folks. And then that asks all of us a favor, like a question, that if Manoj Tiwari can do that pretty effectively today,
right,
why can't we adapt the content that we have from Khan to the people that we have in mind, the kids who cannot understand gravitation versus Guruttvakarshana, right? So that is a possibility, and AI can enable that. And Mohit, you sit in a place which is like the hub of it, where like the deep mind sort of projects basically can be used for this purpose. Think about the scale that we can achieve if we can actually take Khan Academy videos and target it in Marathi, in Haryanvi, in Hindi. And we're just not talking about Hindi at that point in time. We're talking about like any language. If we can actually do it on one, and we can scale it as such. So starting with Hindi, we can actually take it on different languages. And when we're talking about India, we're not just talking about one language, we're talking about like so many other languages that we can target the same content.
I'm terribly sorry again to quickly interrupt. I think it's in context to you and whoever else would like to sort of answer these queries. There are two things. What you're saying is immensely interesting, and it will be a game changer. Having said that, Shadab, cost factor, number one. Number two, when you talk about the different regional languages of this country, and we all know there are a multitude of them, there are also, unfortunately, those many boards of study. Maharashtra board, Rajasthan board, this board, that board. So what about the curriculum then?
So that's the other piece, basically. So there has to be some level of content that is generated by the local media. Like you can't have everyone go through a Khan Academy video and learn. Like a fifth grader can't do that, right? You have to have some level of localization of the content, right. And that has to be put in an archive which can be shared across the board. So the point is basically it's not about one teacher creating some content and just delivering it to 50 people. We already have existing technologies that you can have one good teacher teach 50,000 of them. So those platforms and those technologies should be used. There has to be some flavor of that. I totally agree with you on that, Karthik. You can't have like one solution for everything here.
I'll just add to what Shadab was saying. Shadab, thanks for bringing this awesome point on. So I think, translation, for example, I would put this problem of English versus Hindustani versus Hindi versus local language as a problem of translation, which is a fairly solved problem in so many ways, right? Yeah. Today, some like English to Hindi, if you really look at it from Microsoft, Google, a couple of these companies' perspectives, they are kind of solved using neural nets, which means like even poetry translation can happen. It is not like you just translate transliteration. It's really translation. So I think that problem can be solved. And the point which I was saying earlier, and I mean taking cognizance of what Shushma said, that maybe primary school or early years is a slightly difficult problem to solve. But if you kind of take this, it still makes sense to use existing platforms and kind of adapt them for local users using AI and other delivery technologies. So I think that's point number one I would just like to add here. And using NLP, etc., you can get contextual information, whether it's a question, it's a comment, people didn't understand. So you can kind of do that. The other point I would like to make is your question, how easy it is, how cheap it is, and who does it, right? Now, the problem is, I don't think Indeed can reinvent everything on its own, right?
Sure.
To solve a problem of only Rajasthan or a set of villages, right? The teachers are not going to do it. The schools there are not going to do it. Such projects will probably need support by the administration, the government agency. So I think the bigger role for Indeed and organizations like that has to be to kind of take this in a kind of an executable way to the organizations who can support it, right? So I think government needs to be deeply involved, even for curriculum in a lot of ways, right? You will, because standardization is a big thing, and I think government will need to be involved. It's not a short-term problem, by the way, we are solving. I think if we have to say that what should we do in these 3 months, it's a separate discussion.
Sure, sure.
But if we have to look at the next 12 to 18 to 24 months, I think government needs to be involved. There has to be other commercial, operators like companies who need to kind of come forward and support this. Every company today, does it out of their own will, but is also mandated to have corporate social responsibility. A large part of it is education, amongst other things. So I think, again, as Indeed, I think the big job has to be to kind of translate these into executable solution and get the support of these industries, because I think solutions do exist, and kind of it just needs to be translated into ways where you can do it fast.
Okay, so that's wonderful. I have one question more that's troubling me, जो मैं आप सबसे पूछना चाहता हूँ. Now, when you say that, we've talked about many possible plausible solutions and how an organization like Indeed can sort of come in there and augment this whole thing. But the fact remains that overnight schools will not vanish. They will still remain the primary deliverers of education. So, how do you, and especially in the government setup then and in the rural setup, how do you work with those schools where there may be many, many more challenges, first and foremost of a slight challenge of maybe convincing and advocacy, but usko bhi ek baar agar side mein rakh dein, the vast majority of the teachers there will perhaps be not up to the task of using these platforms and technologies to do the teaching. So isn't there also this a huge requirement to train, retrain, orient them?
So, I have a bit of an experience at Uttarakhand, the village where we operate out of. There is a school right next to us, which has been lying empty, vacant. There are no kids. Most of the next generation has moved to the cities. Of course, they're now going back, but, pre-COVID, it had kind of emptied out. And so, the first thing was, okay, let's give you computers. And so we said, okay, here are a few PCs. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm glad. So we ended up giving them computers and putting a Wi-Fi over there and said, hey, we are all on. I said, bache nahi hai. So that's our first problem. So they said, bache kahan hai? Then they said, okay, a few of our districts, we've got together. We have this one school which is running for about 10 villages. We said, great, let's work with those guys. And we went there and we found that the young teachers, kids who are who kind of graduated from the schools, want to contribute, who are about 30 or less than 30 years old, they were very game for this kind of learning. But you look at anybody over 50 or 40 teachers, they are not very open to this issue is going to come up. I just want to summarize, what I've heard. One of the things, so we need to get blocks. So Indeed, or Indeed needs to get blocks of schools together, figure out which districts, Jodhpur, Udaipur, wherever, Jaipur, block of schools. And then let's get them going and let's get this. And, it's a massive task to take up, all the years, till class 10 or 11. So take a thin slice, make it work, show them how it can be done, do a thin slice approach. I mean, that's what I would
so what
suggest.
is it what you're suggesting, basically do a pilot project kind of thing?
Yeah, and or continuing on the, Mohit also mentioned about partnership. Today, Airtel and Jio, if you look at the two surviving telcos in the country, besides BSNL is not good for too much, but both Jio and we should keep open mind for all these businesses. They have CSR budgets. They would love to do it. And companies like Cisco, they would love to contribute the gear, and we don't need like the current gear. We can go for N-1, N-2.
Certainly.
Coming to devices, again, we don't need the hippest of devices, the latest stuff. We need the N-1, N-2 stuff, which is available at a fraction of the cost. And so if you do like a proof of concept or a thin slice of villages, all these other educational partners, Byju's, Salkhan, everybody is going to be available. Yes, AI can be used. We need to, personalize and, work with the content. One last thing I wanted to share was that one of my batchmates is also an educationist. So I think he was the last boss at NCERT, or maybe he's still the boss. So, so central education, I mean, it's not difficult to get through to the ministry and say, listen, we need your help. Okay, we want to make this happen. And tell us how do you going to make it happen. And we have an open chat with the PMO, and the PMO is quite open. We need to go seek a meeting, get through to the PMO, work with the government, get them on our side. How much they'll end up giving, money they'll end up giving us, I don't know. In today's condition, that may not, so much money may not be required, but getting the local guys, hey, aap hamare bachcho ko kya kar rahe ho? That I don't know whether it happens. Raja would know better, but agar, so getting that stuff so that we get.
No, but can we take that to Raja? Raja, does that happen? Is there resistance or is there suspicion?
So a few things are like, only one thing I have noted on few things out of this conversation which I want to mention, and there are some things which in our plan also which we want to just validate it through you. So on the communication part, like internet connectivity and that, and we were talking about the app and we were talking about the existing things which we want to collaborate with. But the basic problem, as I already told, we want to bridge gap is like existing apps can't, even if we say Khan Academy, any person for the class cannot get the starting content because the students are sometimes really blank. So why we are trying to do is like textbooks, translation through AI, and adding some interactive stuff to that is because they can go through at least full courseware. Let's say it's a Hindi or it's like social study. Once they listen entire thing, and once they, because they even cannot, I have talked to even a lot of teachers who are teaching in 10th and 12th, and they say like there are few students in 10th which cannot read fluently in 10th. So at least when we are showing up on the screen that this is the word which is highlighting, which is being spoken. So one is like their readability will improve. Another, they will go through the entire content. And the app can, through the AI, can just ask them, is it fine? Or we can just mention in our application itself that these points are really like the category of the point. This is hard, this is normal, or this. If it is hard, every hard paragraph would be end up with, did you understand? आपको समझ आया? तो आपको हाँ या ना बोलना है, तो उसको लगेगा कि हाँ, he or she is interacting with that. So on that part, another is like the connectivity and internet. What we were thinking of is like we are trying to pilot few things is we'll set kind of a hotspot in the village where people can go with their mobile and download this app entirely with free of cost. And another in this app, what we want to give a feature that app to app copy contenting, copy of content. So like app could be just like a 1 MB or even less, but the content could be really heavy, which can be copied over from one mobile to another mobile through Bluetooth or some other media. So we can reduce on the data uses, or even though we provide them internet, but the problem is that everybody will start using the bandwidth allocated to villages. We have realized that if 10 people started using the mobile, it goes really bad because the throughput, whatever they have allocated, is very less. So these are few things which we have thought of to solve that. Only thing is that how to achieve it, what kind of content server we will be needing in the backend for those. Another is like for Khan Academy or whatever videos are available, they are really excellent. But for other content or for the new content or for the changed content, if we can automate that particular process through AI, that will be really a stopgap arrangement till the time the quality content is being done. That is awesome if we can do that. But till that, rather than waiting, if an AI app can help us to create those content, which is definitely not good as it would be, but it is something.
So when we are talking of AI, we're basically talking about translation, right?
So it will be reading of the content, like Hindi book, we will just put it into text with some annotations.
Text to speech.
AI
text
engine,
to
yeah, text to speech, but it will have some annotations. Those annotations, the text to speech will become interactive text to speech. Like we will say, like after this this particular para, you have to ask this question. After this para, you have to say, okay, got it, or that kind of thing. So the person who is listening will feel like connected, and then after
will essentially feel as if वो teacher ही बोल रहा है.
हाँ, एक और चीज हम जो सोच रहे थे, that was like connecting this app as to the existing schools also, so the teacher can interact on the same app as the other schools are using as school app. Not full features, basic feature of communication. Tomorrow is this class, tomorrow is holiday, this extra class is going to happen on this and this time. And if a student have a question, he can directly point to his or her teacher, and then teacher can answer on the same app. So this app will become a aid to the student, not the replacement of a school or any teacher. And in absence of teacher, it could also act like some percentage of teacher.
Just an interesting thought which crossed my mind when this is said, that this seems to be, if we are able to translate enough educational content on devices like Alexa or Google Home and kind of somehow provide access to these students, this probably could be a voice interactive thing, because today these things can do question and answer. They have NLP, they understand accents.
They have NLP. There are some NLP which are portable also.
Yes, and if you are able to kind of have these, and they do a very good job of text to speech. So if you are able to translate content of classes into it and kind of do that, probably that could be a force.
That's an excellent idea.
So
have we thought of how will these devices be accessible to the villages?
Yeah, that's a problem.
About?
Yeah,
that's the biggest problem. The other thing, Raja, one other point that you raised is translate the existing books. I think, if someone were to redo this, we may even want to rethink the content that we currently have. Our current educational content is very rote learning based, right? So if we want to redo it, we may want to rethink the content and really think about what.
Problem is that whatever we cannot solve, we are rather than targeting that, what we are targeting is whatever we actually have right now in our hand. So all books are there in PDF for even the boards, and if we can just convert them into Unicode, which is like not very easy but not very tough also. If we can convert that to Unicode, and then there are engines which can directly speak them, and then there will be AI come in and then make it interactive. So what we want to do is we want to make it possible on very minimal device, whatever we have. And for restricting the content, we can go to the child mode also. So this app could start in a child mode where the parent will put in a pin, and unless that pin is put again, it cannot exit. So the child cannot watch anything other than that in that particular period.
I think also very quickly, if I can interrupt, Mohit, to your point of, we all sort of agreed that doing it through devices such as Google Alexa, Home, Alexa, etc. Obviously, in these kind of rural centers, there will have to be a congregation or these sort of hubs that will need to be created where there's one device, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे बच्चे आके और उससे फिर speak सकें.
Sorry to interrupt. Like Google Home, whatever is there in Google Home can be replicated in any Android device also. That could be the solution to that particular thing, because we don't need Google Home. The mobile can act like that.
See, the Google Assistant is the so an assistant can come on to TVs, it can come on to phones, it can come on to
even there are assistants which are even portable, which you can put on any device.
Right.
So we can have like in-memory this NLP processor inside the device itself, so it doesn't connect to internet.
So one thing I would say,
something.
Yeah. So one thing on just to add to that, basically, if you, I think Sushma was talking about little kids who are not in 9th grade, if you will, and these are kids. So one fundamental thing that according to me, actually is very fundamental is basically the ability to read, and things like, so if you can actually have a reading buddy, if you will, here. What we do is we lay down with our kids when they're little and we read with them. And that's the reading process. That's how they learn, right? That the mom is going through or dad is going through line by line. And the kid is seeing them, how they speak and how they pronounce that particular word. And that's how they learn to read.
Yes.
A similar thing, and actually talking about what Raja was just talking about, if you have the content and that content is actually being highlighted at the same time it's being spoken to, it'll enable that reading. The other thing is basically you can't keep that content dead, if you will. It has to have some sort of interaction with right. So maybe
we can have even a cartoon which is like just acting like it's speaking. Sorry to interrupt.
And that rather just to that point, basically that would get the kids hooked onto this sort of an app. However, that brings the other problem. Basically, that when we are talking about that, Mohit, we are not talking about just that translation piece. We are talking about some customization, if you will.
Yeah, of course.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong again, the moment you then get into animation or having this cartoon character, blah, 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 then all of it sort of fuels those same problems then again of that particular thing becoming heavier and denser and more difficult, requiring more bandwidth, or is that not necessarily the case?
What Raja pointed out, Raja has the solutions that Raja was pointing out. I think those can be used effectively to take care of the bandwidth issues. You can download the app and all those things, like they could be done.
Right.
The only thing is the efforts to develop those apps would be more, but after that it will be painless, I think.
Yeah. The other thing is basically if you actually invest in the first set of these solutions, like let's say if you are able to translate and be able to read the content for like 10 books or 10 story books, if you will, you can use AI to actually extend it for the next 100. You can take it to the next 1,000 if you're able to build a platform. The point is that there's a big hurdle to go to the first 10.
First 10.
And then AI can bring in the scalability that you might be after. But the challenge in all this that I see, and after listening to all of you guys, is who builds the cat first, right?
Absolutely.
Who is the first one who does it, right? Unless you do it for the first time, it won't go anywhere.
No, but then so how does one explore that? Is it as one of you suggested, literally to seek a meeting with 10 of these big guys, and somebody or the other will be interested?
That's one way. That's one way to look at it. Yep, that's probably a way to start. Probably.
The other thing is basically, Ranjan, you were talking about getting some government backing. I think that's the key here. Like you can talk about Coursera, you can talk about edX. After all, these are startups, okay? They do not, like, they might have some CSR budgets. And just to prove that they're doing something good, they would do it. But fundamental responsibility.
Coursera is on open source, and these are free platforms. Okay, they're
Right.
not. So you can take Coursera, take edX. We've done that with edX, and repurposed it for building an academy or a university. And it's very easy, simple to do that. The format works, and you can language it whatever way you want to. You know, so you can deploy Google APIs on it. And it works. So you can have all the AI which has already been built by Google, for example, or you can do that on Amazon, whatever. But it's kind of a ready-made platform. Why reinvent the whole wheel? If I really go deep into it, the crucial issues are to get enough bandwidth, you know, and get enough of CSR funds from Airtel and or Jio, and the stuff we need, the gear we need to ensure that let's say local hotspots are created across in a cluster of villages. I think that would do the trick. I mean, one can always download, as Raja's been talking about, into a local server or a local desktop, and see whatever devices we use. You have to ensure that, you know, these remote villages, service and support in those corners are not going to be very easy. So you can't today go with hard drives and stuff like that into remote villages. It's going to get heated up in Rajasthan. It's not going to work. There's no one going to be taking care of that. Power is going to be an issue. So just think of a module, you know, which is like a rugged solar module which handles power, handles a local device which is diskless, and everyone else kind of feeds off on that or feeds directly off that. But we need a telecom partner in this conversation.
Okay.
You know, there's this guy, Mohit, Sanjay, who was with Airtel earlier. Now he's on his own. He was the CEO of Airtel. So we kind of hooked up, and we should get Sanjay into this conversation. Balaji, who's head of Vodafone, I kind of know him also. So these two guys, I do some music with both of them, and I'm on a music kind of WhatsApp group with them. So Reliance Jio, I don't know who's the right person at Jio to reach out to, but they would have a damn good network in Rajasthan. So if you identify the geographies. Yeah, Mohit, go ahead.
No. I'm saying we should definitely explore all of this, Ranjan. Absolutely, I think we have to forge some of these partnerships to move forward.
And get the NCRT guy. I'm forgetting his name, but you know, I kind of tend to forget names now.
Find out.
But
yeah, we'll find that out.
I have a connect through him. So my family, we know him. We're close, common friends. So I'll be able to figure that one out, and he should be able to get the government interface. But do another call like this, getting the telecom guys. So because to make a substantial impact, we need to get the telcos on our side. You know, guys who are going to give us the internet pipes.
Right. Got it. Very, very, very good point. Okay, I'm sorry to sound and feel like a news anchor, but final thoughts from everybody. Sushma, if I can ask you to share your final.
This was a very engaging discussion, Karthik. So thanks for having me over. I think what you guys are trying to do is fantastic. Hopefully, you know, get a few more of these going and lots of good ideas generated to take it to the next step. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Shadab, last final thoughts.
Actually, I was so amazed after seeing what Raja has been able to do with the amount of time, and the I think the solutions are going to come for this from people who are on the ground, right? We can sit here and we can talk about it, but the real solutions are going to come from people like Vikram, people like Raja, who who hit the ground basically, and they see the realities on a daily basis. And to Ranjan's point, basically, most definitely corporate tie-ups are required, and hopefully we'll be able to make them and take it to the next level.
Wonderful. Mohit?
Yep. I think very valid point. The problem which you're trying to solve is a hard problem. It's not an easy problem. If you are able to solve it, like even Ranjan said, in a narrow way, I think scaling up is the easier part. So I think we should pick up a couple of projects and kind of see how this problem solves out. But still, this is no solution to the immediate problem which we have right now, which is what do we do in July, August, September, October, should the pandemic not allow the schools to continue, right? And I think we'll need to continue to do ad hoc stuff and hopefully, kind of wish for all the very best there. But I'm sure there are different kind of people looking at solving this problem in different ways. So I think we should keep our eyes and ears open and collaborate. But many solutions to a single problem, and whichever works will change the world, actually.
Right. Mr. Chopra, would you like to add some final thoughts, comments?
Yeah, so I didn't, Mohit, with what you said, I don't know whether we are just doing a kind of short-term patchwork for the COVID period, or we're looking at a longer thing. I thought it was a longer thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, there's a conceptual level. I mean, it depends on the kind of impact with Raja and Vikram they want to have. The scale of the problem there's a conceptual layer where, I'm responding to what Shadab said about people on the ground. So while the doing stuff, somebody has to do that, you know. And Jaipur being the hub, the guys who are there in Jaipur and who are committed to making this happen, it's their mission. They're the guys who are very important. But at a different layer, you need to attack the problem at a much higher layer, getting different stakeholders like the telecom players, the government. And the third part is the devices player. So the devices one, I work very closely with almost all the people who deal with devices. So that's a manageable piece. So I could personally bring a lot of value there, whatever devices, whether we're looking at, eventually end up with pads or phones or Alexas or Google Homes. In the end, it doesn't matter. Whatever devices are there, that can be handled. And what we do need is to get these other two, things sorted out. And at the conceptual level, we've got to get. I mean, I honestly don't know what the Rajasthan government, for example, has on their mind. What are they? They must be preoccupied with politics and a whole lot of other issues. But I know for sure that at some level, they're also village panchayats. They have brought in pipes. They do want to send the message from get the gram panchayats going. So if at the village level it's already there, and the district level it's already there, and we can figure out, can we piggyback on that infrastructure which is there with them, or do we go completely separately and say, okay, fine, let them do their stuff? So because we were involved, one of my companies was involved in working with many states, going deep into it. Madhya Pradesh, I know we did that. Gujarat, we did that, and Punjab, we've done that. Haryana, we've done that. We haven't done it in Rajasthan. So, but I know that it's been done in Rajasthan. So, if there's an existing infrastructure, piggyback on that.
Right.
and get the buying in, get the alignment done from different stakeholders. So work with people at the top and keep an open mind. All these people, everybody. Now, हमारे ऊपर है हम उनको use करें नहीं करें, Sahil Khan को या edX or whatever, but they will all come onto the table. They all want to contribute. Okay, that's something I believe in, and we need to talk to them, get them aligned. So हमारे माइंड में वो नहीं आना चाहिए कि अरे वो क्यों आएंगे हमारे साथ, वो क्यों सपोर्ट करें, वो नहीं आना चाहिए.
Yeah, so let's not make that assumption.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And Raja, if I can ask you to sort of sum up for us whatever we've discussed, your thoughts, finally.
First of all, I would like to thanks a lot, Ranjan sir, for all those suggestions and devices related help, because that is the key thing to be proceed with, because that's the area where usually when we go to rural we lack in. So those points and those supports is really, really very helpful to us. Other than that, like the key point to success, whatever come out of this discussion, one is like just doing any pilot, and another is to reach out to correct people.
Correct.
So that seems like fair enough. Another is like the suggestions like being interactive with Alexa and those all things. That is really excellent suggestion. And if we could do that, if we can get resources which can help in that, maybe we can get help of even Google, because if we say like we are doing it for rural kids, maybe Google could fund it and even could execute that particular thing. So that could be really excellent thing. So wonderful, excellent.
So I think there are a couple of common things that are emerging. There need to be work in tandem with certain very key stakeholders, private and public. Whatever existing infrastructure exists should be taken advantage of. Let's not have any misconceptions or misgivings about who may or may not help explore everything and everyone that's out there. And for me personally, selfishly, what Sushma said, I would absolutely love to see that that there is an opportunity to redo the content altogether. But that I'm just saying because I'm an educator and I don't necessarily subscribe to a lot of content that's used across the country at the moment.
That require very widely actually. Even engineering classes have a proper content.
And a big battle. But anyway, thank you all so much for being here. On behalf of Indeed Foundation, I'm hugely indebted to each one of you for sparing time. You've given us wonderful insights, certainly lots of things that we need to work on and start focusing on immediately. Thank you very, very much for being here. Stay safe, and we will be in touch. This is going to be a continuing effort. We will try and do a panel with government. We will try and do a panel with telcos, and we will keep all of you posted, and we'll keep nagging you for help. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.